We are a solid 3 weeks into the Wednesday Night Wars and about to go into our first full month with both NXT and AEW going head to head with each other for the ratings. And while I do believe that both shows are great and all, I do think that this is the time and period where the hype is going to start to die down a little bit, and you will see a lot more people either choosing one or the other show instead of watching both, or people might actually start to take a little bit of a break from both shows. But like I said, both shows are still running high, and I think both shows this week had some pretty productive work. And I'm going to talk about it right here. What is going on, guys? It is your boy Tyler Kuhn Williams, or welcome back to the Tyler Williams channel. And today I'm going to be doing a newer segment on this channel. Now, I've experimented with two different types of reviews on this channel, but one thing I do want to do, I want to try out this week, is a thing called the aftermath of the war. I'm choosing 5 pieces, 3 from one show, 2 from the other, and I'm going to be talking about them in this video. So let's get straight into it. Number 5, we have the Inner Circle on the Outskirts. So this came during the Cody Rhodes segment. So Cody Rhodes makes his way down to the ring with an announcement to make. And earlier tonight, we saw the Inner Circle kind of make their way up into the luxury boxes, just kind of watching the tag team action go on. And it all led up to this segment where, during the interview between Cody and Tony Schiavone, you have Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and LAX is kind of blowing air horns and trying to distract Cody the whole time. And then that's when Cody says, "This isn't like the other company where there's this invisible wall in between us. I can easily get out of this ring, go up there and kick your ass," or something along those lines. And I roll my eyes because I'm a bit over all these hot shots that AEW keeps taking at WWE. I'm going to make a separate video on that a little bit later on, but I'm a little over these hot shots. It's cool to do it every once in a while, but every week and every chance you get, it just makes you look Bush League and second rate. So I would like it if he didn't do it much anymore, but it gets a pop out of the crowd, so expect more of this. Anyway, so Jericho's still calling him out, basically in the most "you and what army" moment of the night. And this brings out Dustin Rhodes and MJF, and Chris Jericho delivers such a great line here.
"Where's the scarf? Get the hell out of here, man."
And I popped pretty big for that because of the irony in that. Now it's 3-4, and this brings out DDP, who gets a big reaction from the crowd. The 4 men storm up the bleachers into the crowd. They go to get Jericho, LAX, and Sammy, but they go behind this little glass pane door. Jericho's taunting Cody. Cody takes MJF's scarves and punches the glass pane and gets through the door, and this leads to an awesome brawl into the concession stands of the Pittsburgh Arena, and it's just amazing. I've always been a big fan of backstage brawls and going into concession stands and going outside. I've always been a big fan of that. So seeing this, I marked out for it huge. But Cody and his entourage got scored out with Jericho just kind of like on the floor, sad face, and all like, "I bought a ticket! I bought a ticket! How dare he do this to me? I'm a paying customer!" It was excellent execution. I love this segment. And the heels got their ass kicked as they should have been, as they stood tall 3 weeks straight. So this made sense. 4th on the Aftermath, we have Angel Garza gunning for Lio Rush. Back to NXT, we had Lio Rush on commentary for the upcoming match, Angel Garza versus Gentleman Jack Gallagher. Now, I like this match. It wasn't anything special or anything really memorable, but it was a nice coating of the chunk for these two men. Now, I've always been a big fan of Gentleman Jack Gallagher since his days in the Cruiserweight Classic. I kind of always had my eye on him. But Angel Garza is a guy who I've really taken a liking to NXT. His charisma, his in-ring talent, the way he rips off the pants like Tahiti. You know, he's my Mexican Tahiti. The guy just exudes so much energy, and I'm here for it. I am here for it. Angel Garza, Cruiserweight Championship run, North American Championship run, NXT one. Give this man a title. Anyways, he puts down Jack Gallagher with a lion salt for the pin and basically eyes down Lio Rush and saying that he wants that Cruiserweight Championship. And like I said, I'm here for it. Angel Garza, Lio Rush sounds like they'll make magic in the ring, whether it's next week, 2 weeks from now, a month from now, or they want to build up to a next TakeOver event. I am here for that match. 3rd on the Aftermath, we have a Brandy Rhodes heel turn. So Britt Baker was back in her hometown of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and she got a nice ovation from the crowd leading up to her match with Jamie Hayter. Now, Jamie Hayter, I do not believe is signed to AEW, but she did get a nice little showcase for her in this match. They want to bring her back. The crowd already knows who she is from this match. But having a notable name on this roster maybe every once in a blue moon is pretty fine and would help a pretty passable AEW women's roster if you ask me. I mean, they have a great roster, but the division itself is pretty weak. So having some names in here and really seeing more of the women would help a lot. You know, they have quite a few women on the roster, but I feel like I keep on seeing these same women for the last 4 weeks. So I need some diversity. That will help this women's division out a lot if we see Sadie Gibbs, Penelope Ford, Nyla Rose again, you know, everyone in that Casino Battle Royale. We need to see more of them. But I digress. Getting back into this match. It was good, not great, not necessarily decent, but it was good. I felt like Jamie Hayter really carried the match for the most part. Britt Baker in the ring, she's decent. I don't really think there's anything really interesting about her in the ring when she's wrestling, but she's fine. She won a match with her lockjaw, making Jamie Hayter tap out, getting the submission victory. Now, after the commercial break, a few minutes later, we get a backstage interview from Jen Decker, the interview for AEW, I believe, and Jamie Hayter. We're going to hear some words from her, but before she even gets a chance to speak, she's cut off by Brandy. At first, her head's turned, so you don't know who it is. I'm like, well, are there any black women with that hair other than Brandy Rhodes? Like, who would that be? I'm thinking in my head it's not Brandy. Like, it can't be Brandy. But it turns around and it's fucking Brandy Rhodes. And I'm like, what? And Jen Decker's trying to ask her question and she's all up in her face like, and then she just walks away. I'm like, I didn't understand this segment at all. Usually these kind of segments where the heel attacks the opponent from behind her in the segment is meant to build up, you know, maybe a newer big heel on women's roster, you know, get someone over. But Brandy? Why Brandy? Why Brandy Rhodes of all people? This is why I said earlier, AEW has a women's roster, but you wouldn't know that because they don't really show them that much. And I know they've only been on TV for 4 weeks, but we need to diversify it a little bit more. You could have had your chance to have Sadie Gibbs on TV, or Penelope Ford on TV, or maybe Aja Kong, Awesome Kong. But the COO of the company, Brandy, and the thing is, I would pass it. I would pass this if Brandy Rhodes was a good wrestler, but as much as I love Brandy Rhodes as a character, as a person, Brandy Rhodes is not a good wrestler. I'm sorry. I find her very boring in the ring. And I don't even mean like she's boring, like she's not good. Like, I don't want to call her bad, but she's not a good wrestler. Like, so seeing her attack Jamie Hayter from behind, unless Jamie Hayter is signed for getting a feud with her and Brandy Rhodes, or Brandy Rhodes is getting some type of feud with Britt Baker, I don't know what the beef is. Why is she mad at Jamie Hayter? Why did she attack her? She just walked away. She didn't explain herself. Commentary didn't even mention it. It was weird. It was awkward. It didn't make any sense. I don't know why this happened. I'm interested to see where this goes next week, but honestly and truly, they could have reserved that energy for somebody else. It did not need to be Brandy Rhodes. Honestly, I saw enough of Stephanie McMahon and her reign of terror on Raw for years and years and years. I would like to think that we're not going to get that with Brandy Rhodes because that's some turn off the TV level heat with me. But I want to see where this goes. And like I said, I hope they're not going to push Brandy Rhodes because you have a roster. Let's use the rest of them. My second takeaway, Asuka and Kairi Sane are returning to NXT. So we got a tag team match on NXT this week. We have Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai, who I would like to believe are the female version of the Best Friends, versus Marina Shafir and Jessamyn Duke. It was a pretty fair tag team match. I think the hot tag from Tegan Nox really picked this match off its feet. I mean, Dakota Kai get beat down by Jessamyn Duke and Marina Shafir. It built up a little bit. It got some heat, but overall, Jessamyn Duke and Marina Shafir are still pretty green in my opinion. Nothing they do really impresses me, and they're not really all that antagonizing. So when Tegan Nox got in the ring and she started running all over these women, I got pretty excited. The match ended shortly after that. She laid out Jessamyn Duke with her shiniest wizard for the pin, winning the match for her and Dakota Kai. Asuka and Kairi Sane appear on the Titantron. Kairi Sane, in what was a pretty oddly menacing tone, says,
"Next week, you have no chance."
Nonetheless, next week we're getting Kairi Sane and Asuka back in NXT, at least for 1 week, versus Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. I am all for this match. Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai have had some great comeback stories, especially Tegan Nox. Seeing them go after the tag team titles makes me genuinely happy and want to see them win, and want to see them overcome the odds, and want to see them actually get titles on them. Getting it from Asuka is going to be hard considering that she was undefeated in her run in NXT, and she's the queen. She is NXT. She's one of the, I would say, one of the most imposing figures from NXT. So seeing her back is going to be awesome as well. And Kairi Sane, she was great in her run. I'm really excited to see this match. I'm really amped. And next week, as long as AEW doesn't have a really amped match as well, they'll have my attention. Before we get into number 1, let's talk about the Rebel from the Aftermath. And that's SCU versus the Lucha Brothers. So in AEW this week, we saw Lucha Brothers defeat Pride Party in yet another hot opening tag team match. And we also saw SCU defeat the Dark Order to advance to the finals alongside Lucha Brothers of the AEW Tag Team Tournament. My only issue with this is that last week we saw the Lucha Brothers attack SCU before the show, really before, as the show was starting. We saw them attack SCU and lay out Christopher Daniels, and that kind of segued Scorpio Sky into this tournament with Frank Kazarian. My only issue with that is, as soon as they had that moment happen and they had these two teams go on to the semifinals, it kind of telegraphed that they were going to the final round. Had that moment never happened, I still would have believed that the finals would have been Pride Party versus SCU. But as soon as that happened, I said it's going to be Lucha Brothers versus SCU. That booking right there made it predictable. I don't have an issue with them having a little bit of booking 101 because it's going to happen at some point. It's bound to happen. But I just don't want it to happen too often where we see, oh, this happened, so as a result and as a butterfly effect, this is going to happen, and then it happens. Like, I'm still expecting Lucha Brothers to win the AEW Tag Team Tournament and win the AEW Tag Team Championships. But the way we could have got to that point couldn't have been as telegraphed if that moment didn't happen, if you make sense of what I'm saying. And finally, number 1 takeaway from the aftermath of the Wednesday Night Wars, Finn Balor's heel turn. In the main event of NXT, we got a triple threat match between Roderick Strong, Keith Lee, and Dominik Dijakovic for Roddy's NXT North American Championship. And what was a pretty good triple threat match. High action from all over the place. These three men tore it down and tore it up. Strong came out the winner though after a running big boot to the side of the head of Keith Lee. Got the pin. He retained the red strap. After the match, the Undisputed Era came out to celebrate with him, but this brought out Tommaso Ciampa. Crutch in hand, he entered the ring in what was a 4-on-1 scenario, which I thought was pretty funny considering we had a 4-on-1 scenario on AEW earlier in the night. Not saying it's a coincidence, but 4-on-1. But this brings out Johnny Gargano, and I popped huge for this, but it was still a 4-on-2. Who would come out with them? But of course, Finn Balor. Finn Balor comes down to the ring. It's now 3-on-4. I'm wondering who's going to come out next because it's 3-on-4, not 4-on-3. But Finn Balor Pele kicks onto Johnny Gargano, and then Undisputed Era attacks Tommaso Ciampa, and I'm like, what the fuck? Did Finn Balor just join the Undisputed Era? It just seemed like that. He was just standing over top of Johnny as Undisputed Era laid into Tommaso Ciampa, and the crowd was going insane. I was going insane. Commentary was going insane. I didn't know what was going on. We were all led to believe this might have been the 5th member of Undisputed Era as he went on Johnny Gargano on the outside, laying right into him. But it should be noted, while this beatdown did happen, Finn Balor never touched Ciampa, and he never, ever stood alongside Undisputed Era. After the beatdown, the Undisputed Era stood tall in the ring, doing their little pose, doing their little gang sign as Finn Balor stood on the ramp, just staring them down. And that's how we went off air. Went off at the air pretty damn hot in my opinion. Finn Balor seemingly turned heel here. And I don't think he joined Undisputed Era because he didn't stand tall with them and he didn't attack Ciampa either. I thought if Finn Balor is going to join Undisputed Era, this was the perfect time to do it. I think doing it next week or doing it at a pay-per-view won't really be as effective as it would have been right now, which leads me to believe that he isn't going to join UE. But a Finn Balor heel turn is not something I necessarily ever thought I would want to see, but I'm glad it happened. Finn Balor going after the heart and soul of NXT makes perfect sense considering that Finn Balor once upon a time was the heart and soul of NXT. So I am really prepared for this Finn Balor Johnny Gargano feud or Finn Balor Undisputed Era or how all this is going to tie together. All I know is NXT ended hot, ended better than AEW in my opinion. So I'm really excited to see what NXT has to offer next week. Same with AEW, of course. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the aftermath from the Wednesday Night Wars. What did you guys think? What was your favorite segment from NXT or AEW? What was your favorite match from AEW or NXT? Comment down below. Let me know. I love you guys always, and I will see you all next Wednesday. Peace out, guys.